When you get into a season of manifestation, there tends to come an expectation. There is an expectation that we put on God, and we do it with a time limit in mind. When we come into a season of manifestation, when we come into this year of 2025, which is the season of manifestation, we come into it and we have a preset thought process that it's going to happen right now. There are 365 days, and as long as God does it, within the 365 days, you are in your season of manifestation. Do not get upset or find yourself hardening your heart or having resentment or becoming frustrated or even losing your faith because it didn't happen in your time frame. Because it happened in God's time frame. Because what God is giving you and what God is doing for you is a God thing. It is going to affect the kingdom of God. So it has to be done on God's time. It can't be done on your time. But you have to get to a point where you are consistently operating in faith so that you can sit up and say, God, I praise you that I'm in the season of it. It's okay if it doesn't come today. It's okay if it doesn't come tomorrow. It's okay if by August I still don't have it. It's okay if by the beginning of December I still don't have it. But when December 31st comes, oh my God, you have made a way. You have done what you said you were going to do. As long as I am in the season of it, even if I don't get it till the last day of the year, I am grateful that I am in the season of it. And the only way that you can operate in that type of thought process, in that kind of maturity, is to have faith and to understand timing. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode on Fourth Quarter Pressure, where you are always the more and never the lesser. I'm your host, CJ Stokely, and as always, I'm honored and excited and elated for this opportunity to sit down with you and take a little bit of your time, just a little bit, to help encourage you, to help you become more God-minded, more righteous-minded, to help you become the man or woman of God that God intends for you to be. Because at Fourth Quarter Pressure, you genuinely are always the more and never the lesser. So the goal is to help you have a mind that becomes cultivated in the direction of your purpose, of your destiny, of what God has for you. So my responsibility that God has put on me is to help you get to your purpose. And you cannot get to your purpose if every time a fourth quarter pressure moment in life hits you, you do not rise to the occasion. You have to become fourth quarter pressure. You have to become big enough pressure with the authority and the power of God on the inside of you that you put pressure on demonic attacks, that you put pressure on demons, that when they see you coming and they hear your voice and they hear you praying and they hear you speaking a word, they begin to run because they know the power of God is on the inside of you. So my job is to help you be big enough pressure to put pressure on pressure in order to overcome pressure. Because we only got one way to go in this life. It's one way, and that is the way of God. We can't be digressing. We can't be going in the wrong direction. We can't be running away from our purpose and our destiny. We have to be moving forward. We have to be progressing. We have to be going towards the things that God has for us. And the only way we can do that is if we understand how to tap into the power of God on the inside of us that allows us to walk over our situations, to stand on top of the heads of serpents, to move with a certain diligence and authority that God has given us when he preordained us and placed us on this earth. So here at Fourth Quarter Pressure, that is what we are going to do in a brief moment. It's going to be very, very quick. Give me a little bit of your time, and we're going to make sure that you get to walk away with seeds and nuggets of wisdom and insight to apply to your life so that you may be all that God has called you to be. Because I want you to be equipped. I want you to have an arsenal of weapons, because the devil can't do nothing. Devil can't play with you. The devil, all he can do is try. He can't actually do nothing. He can't do nothing you don't give him the opening to do. He can't do nothing you don't give him the authority to do. He can try all day long, but all he can do is try. Because the weapons, they can form, but they will not prosper. So, before we get into today's episode, first I want to shout out officialglorygear.com. That is where all of the Christian apparel that I am a part of. Oh, it's one of the brands that I'm a part of. I have my fourth quarter pressure stuff coming. But Official Glory Gear, I'm part owner. And this hoodie right here, if you could see that, with the matching hat as well. And there's a plethora of other things on the website as it pertains to apparel, with hoodies, crew necks, shirts, athletic gear, a lot of things for the ladies, sweatpants, shorts, workout bags, anything that you could think of is on there. So if you are about the kingdom, if you want to go check out some of the Christian apparel and you want to represent God in each and everything that you do, beyond just talking about God, beyond living for God, if you want to wear it on your body, if you want people to see you and know I am a proud believer, I am standing for something greater than myself, then go check out officialglorygear.com, because everything you need is on there. I mean, I would say I'm pretty swaggy right now, you know. That's what I would say, you know. You see it on me. You see it on me, you know. Okay, I ain't gonna do too much. All right, so let's get straight into it. If you have a pen, paper, notepad, notebook, journal, if you want to use your iPhone, iPad, whatever it is that you have to take notes, because I want you to be able to have something to go back and look at, so that when you face situations in your life, you are equipped and you don't have to go through the struggle of running back and trying to rewatch the whole video and finding the certain points and times of when I say certain things. You'll have it written down already and you'll be prepared. So if you could do that for me, and make sure that you're equipped and you're prepared for any situation that you face. So let's go right into it. On today's episode, this episode is titled Faith and Timing. Faith and timing. We have made it all the way to 2025. We are in the year of manifestation. But one thing that you are going to have to be cognizant of and aware of is the importance of your faith and the importance of God's timing. Everything about God is about faith and timing. The basis of a relationship with God that makes you a Christian is solely predicated on faith. It is based off of your belief that God is who God says he is, and that Jesus Christ came to die, that God wrapped himself in flesh and the word became flesh, and Christ walked this earth and he lived a life to endure all of the different temptations and the struggles and all of what we experience so he could know what it felt like. And then he took on the sins of the world, and then they hung him high and stretched him wide, and they beat him and put nails in his hands and in his feet, and they put a crown of thorns on his head, and they crucified him, and he rose from the dead 3 days later with all power in his hand. To believe that is based on faith. So to have the idea that we are men and women of God and we are Christians and to not operate in faith is not logical. What you do should reflect faith. So you have to have the understanding that faith and timing is the way God does everything. God will ask you to do something that makes absolutely no sense, but it's so that he can build your faith. God will have a destiny and a purpose for you, but he will allow you to go through an extensive period of time where you don't ever see it, where you're not even close to it, where you can't even imagine that it's actually going to happen. But that's so that you can get to the time that he set for you to have it. so that the things that he needs to happen in the in-between process can take place. So now you have to understand that when it comes to faith and timing, you are here in the year of 2025, the year of manifestation, because of faith and timing. Your faith is what gives you the endurance. It is what builds the strength to take another step. Your ability to keep pushing and to keep going forward and to keep going after the things that God told you he has for you in your life is based off of your belief system that God can really do it. So when you have faith for something, it is blindly choosing to take another step day in and day out. And you would not be where you are today. You would not be here. You would not be in the year of manifestation about to walk into your blessing if you did not have faith. Faith is what got you here. Faith is what built the strength and the endurance to keep on going, to keep on fighting. All of the different times where you were going through different situations and you wanted to give up and you wanted to quit, but you held on to what God said. You held on to the reality that God is true to his word. Even though you went through a period of time where you could not see that being a reality, it was your belief, it was your trust, it was your faith that brought you into the year of manifestation, that is about to bring you into your blessing, that is about to bring you into that room and at that table and up into position of elevation for you to have your blessing. It is faith that helped keep you. You would not be as strong as you are today if you did not have faith. You would not have the fight and the grit that you have today if you did not have faith, because you cannot have endurance without belief. You cannot have endurance without faith. What am I enduring if there is nothing that I'm believing is going to happen? What is the purpose of me continuously making the decision day in and day out, regardless of how I feel, to push forward despite how I feel, which helps develop the endurance that I need for the level that God is taking me, if there is nothing for me to go towards, if I do not believe that God has anything in store for me. So when you have faith, you have to allow faith to build your endurance. You will not see faith without endurance. You will not see a season of manifestation come into fruition when there is no endurance with faith. Faith and endurance go hand in hand, because having faith builds your endurance. It builds your tolerance. Now, when you look at timing is the seasoning. It is when you are making a pot roast, when you are baking something in the oven, and when you are marinating meats, when you are in the kitchen and you are whipping up a Thanksgiving meal or a Christmas meal or a family dinner, there are certain things that you have to let sit for a little while. There are certain things that you have to let marinate over time, and it begins to absorb all of its surroundings. Everything that piece of meat is sitting in the pot with, it is absorbing it. And that is what God allows for us to do. He allows for us to be in a position and take in all of the hardships, and take in all of the pain, and take in all of the problems. And he allows us through a time period to begin to become stretched in every which direction, so that we could be well-rounded, so that we are seasoned for the destiny that he has for us, so that we are seasoned with a certain level of authority and a certain level of stewardship and a certain level of communication and articulation and wisdom and knowledge when we move how we move and operate in the blessings that he has for us. The timing of things is everything. God always has everything on a set time. There is a time for your destiny. There is a time for your purpose. So everything that you went through in this past year or past years that you have gone through that has led to you getting to your season of manifestation was a part of the timeline that got you to the time of your destiny, that got you to the time of your purpose, because you are now in that season. But I want you to understand something. The exact two things, being faith and timing, that worked together to get you to your year of manifestation are going to be the exact same two things that you are going to need in your season of manifestation. Throughout the next 12 months, it is going to be extremely important that you operate in faith and that you operate off of God's timing. Having faith and understanding God's timing is what will keep you at peace in your season of manifestation. Why do I say that? Because when you get into a season of manifestation, there tends to come an expectation. There is an expectation that we put on God, and we do it with a time limit in mind. When we come into a season of manifestation, when we come into this year of 2025, which is the season of manifestation, we come into it and we have a preset thought process that it's going to happen right now. There are 365 days, and as long as God does it, within the 365 days, you are in your season of manifestation. Do not get upset or find yourself hardening your heart or having resentment or becoming frustrated or even losing your faith because it didn't happen in your time frame. Because it happened in God's time frame. Because what God is giving you and what God is doing for you is a God thing. It is going to affect the kingdom of God. So it has to be done on God's time. It can't be done on your time. But you have to get to a point where you are consistently operating in faith so that you can sit up and say, God, I praise you that I'm in the season of it. It's okay if it doesn't come today. It's okay if it doesn't come tomorrow. It's okay if by August I still don't have it. It's okay if by the beginning of December I still don't have it. But when December 31st comes, oh my God, you have made a way. You have done what you said you were going to do. As long as I am in the season of it, even if I don't get it till the last day of the year, I am grateful that I am in the season of it. And the only way that you can operate in that type of thought process, in that kind of maturity, is to have faith and to understand timing. You are going to have to move in such a way that you understand when you get what God is about to give you. When you get the blessing, you are going to have to function with that blessing off of faith. God might give you something that is bigger than what your mind could comprehend. God might do something for you that is bigger than what you thought in your mind you were going to get. So you may not have all of the knowledge that you need within your own mind to be able to handle what God is giving you. But that's where God needs you to come and put faith in him. That's where God needs you to trust him. That's when God needs for you to believe in him, that he knows exactly what he is doing and that he is going to be a lamp unto your feet and a light unto your path, so that when God says move, you can move the way God needs for you to move, when God needs for you to move, how God needs for you to move. Without question, without doubting yourself, because you understand that God put it in your hand. So it's not about you. So you shouldn't be doubting you, because you're not moving off of you. You're moving off of faith in God. And then you have to be prepared to move at his timing. When you get what God is about to give you, you have to be ready to move when God says move. You have to be ready to shift when God says shift. Again, this is not about you. This is bigger than you. So when God gives it to you, it is not for you to do what you want to do with it. It is for you to move off of faith and timing. It is for when God says do this with it, you do that with it. When God says help this person, you do that immediately. When God says go over here and make this business partnership with this person, you do that immediately. When God says use your resources to help this church or to help these less fortunate individuals, to give back to the homeless, to give back to the hungry, to give back to those in need, you do it immediately, and you don't operate on your time. You don't go off of your plan. You go off of faith and what God said. You have to be prepared to deal with what comes with the blessing. Because when manifestation happens and you walk into it, you have to be very precise and very intentional with the things that you do. You cannot get the blessing that God has for you in 2025 and start making decisions on your own volition. You have to be intentional enough. You have to be wise enough. You have to be in a position where you remember all of the different things that got you to where you are, how you used your faith, how you operated in faith, how faith built your endurance, how God's timing allowed for you to be developed mentally and spiritually, so that when you got what God is about to give you and or what you are now operating in, you were prepared for it. So now when you get it in your hands, you have to ensure that you are using the remembrance of that and how it helped you obtain it in order to help you sustain it, in order to help you maintain the position you are in, to maintain the blessing that you are now operating with. Because again, remember, it is faith and timing that got you to manifestation. It is understanding the importance of faith and understanding God's timing in your season of manifestation that will give you the peace that you need to not get too anxious, to wait on God, to be understanding that even if it ain't today, you're still in your season, to be grateful, to be humble, to be thankful for what God is about to give you. Because sometimes you're waiting on your day to come and it has nothing to do with you. Sometimes your blessing is within this season, but it is not in today, because God has to move some other pieces on the chessboard and get them in position. So when you arrive at that day of your blessing, of your manifestation, everything can be exactly the way that it needs to be. Everything can be in position for your arrival. Everything can be exactly the way God intended it to be. Sometimes it has nothing to do with you. Sometimes it has everything to do with making sure that your blessing is prepared for you. See, God takes you through a period where he prepares you for your blessing, but sometimes in your season of manifestation, it is not happening right now because God has to prepare the people and he has to make sure the blessing in entirety is prepared for your arrival. Because he has something specific in mind, because he has a specific purpose for you and for your life. Are you following what I'm saying? So you have to remember, as you begin walking in your blessing, you're going to have to move off of faith and timing. That is the only way that it's going to work. It is the only way that you are going to be able to be successful with what God is planning on giving you. It is the only way you are going to be successful and sustain the position that God is going to put you in. You're going to have to be prepared to move when God says move, and to have the faith that you need to do with your blessing what God intends for you to do with your blessing. So we have to remember, as we go through 2025, the two most important things is faith and timing. Faith and timing. because faith and timing got you here. Faith and timing is going to give you peace while you're in the season of manifestation until your actual specific day comes where that blessing is in your hands. And then when you get the blessing, it is going to be faith in God and in his direction that is going to give you the strength to do what God has in mind with what he's given you. It's going to give you that strength, and you're going to be able to do it without question, without hesitation, without doubt, without fear, because your faith in God and then God's timing, his timing on when he wants you to do what he wants you to do with what he has given you. That is going to lead to your continual elevation, your continual success. That is going to lead to you being able to stay in position. Because if you don't move when God tells you to move, then now you are getting in the way of God's plan. You are getting in the way of what God is trying to do. Do not become your own roadblock. Allow for God to have his way, just like he had his way to get you here. When you get it, allow him to do the same thing. Don't get it and start feeling yourself. Don't get it and start feeling like you got it all under control, because you didn't get you to it. So you can't get you through it, and you can't get yourself to your next level with it. You have to make sure in 2025, as you move on a day-to-day basis, while you're in your season of manifestation, getting to what God has for you, that you are moving off of faith and timing. And when you get the blessing, which is going to happen this year, even if it's on day 365, you are going to get it. And when you get it, make sure you move off of faith and God's timing. And you will see God do things in your life bigger than you could have ever imagined. That's it for this episode. I hope you genuinely enjoyed it. I hope that it blessed your life. I hope you took nuggets from it. We are in 2025. This is the year of manifestation. Your blessing is coming. Your blessing is coming. Receive that. Believe that. Agree with that internally. It is happening this year. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's already been released in the spirit. It's already been released out of God's mouth. It is going to happen. 2025 is your year of manifestation. Keep your faith. Keep trusting God's timing, so that you can keep your peace. And when it is dropped into your hands, make sure you are in position. Make sure you have the right heart posture. And when you obtain it and you are carrying it in a day-to-day basis, make sure you are using your time to operate on God's time. Make sure you are tapping into your faith to move off of the direction that God is leading you in. I pray that today blessed you. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you took something from it. I'll see you next Tuesday for another episode on Fourth Quarter Pressure. And as always, as we close this out, remember, you are always the more and never the lesser. And we, you, and me, we are Fourth Quarter Pressure. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Hold up. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Fourth Quarter Pressure podcast. I genuinely appreciate you. If it blessed you, if you got something from it, if you received any message from something that was shared on this episode, please go and rate it 5 stars. Please like, share, subscribe, the whole 9 yards. Spread the word to your friends, your family members, because we are trying to make an impact. We're in this together. Remember, I said that we're in this together. So I pray that you are blessed by it. Follow on all social media platforms at This Is 4QP. And remember, you are always the more, never the lesser. And we are Fourth Quarter Pressure. I'll see you next time.